Morning, guys. I thought it would be helpful if I read the prologue and the scenes for today to you. So this is an option that you can use if it helps. And I'll give feedback as I go through. Act 2, Prologue. Now old Desire doth in his deathbed lie, and young Affection gapes to be his heir. That fair for which love groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched, is now not fair. Now Romeo is beloved and loves again, alike bewitched by the charm of looks. But to his foe, supposed he must complain, and she steal love's sweet bait from fearful hooks. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lovers use to swear. And she, as much in love, her means much less, to meet her new beloved anywhere. But passion lends them power, time, means, to meet, tempering extremities with extreme sweet. So once again, the chorus is kind of giving us this idea of what's to come. So at the start it says, now old Desire doth in his deathbed lie. That old desire that Romeo had would be for Rosaline, right? And now it's basically dead. The young Affection that's going to be its heir, which is like, whatever's going to come next, would be Juliet. And so Romeo is, excited about this love. However, okay, because they are foes, right? Being held a foe, which means enemy, he might not have access to breathe such vows as lovers use to swear. So he's not going to have the same access to Juliet that like a normal couple would because they're enemy families. But it says, passion lends them power. Because they love each other so much, it's going to give them what they need in order to meet each other. And that's the end of the prologue. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Romeo alone. Can I go forward when my heart is here? Turn back, dull earth, and find thy center out. Moves away. Enter Benvolio with Mercutio. Romeo, my cousin Romeo! Romeo! He is wise, and on my life hath stolen him home to bed. He ran this way and leapt this orchard wall. Call, good Mercutio. Nay, I'll conjure too. Romeo, humours, madman, passion lover, appear thou in the likeness of a sigh. Speak but one rhyme, and I am satisfied. Cry but I, me, pronounce but love and dove. Speak to my gossip Venus one fair word, one nickname for her pure-blind son and heir. Young Abraham Cupid, he that shot so true when King Cophetua loved the beggar maid. He heareth not, he steereth not, he moveth not. The ape is dead, and I must conjure him. I conjure thee by Rosaline's bright eyes, and by her forehead and her scarlet lip, by her fine foot, straight leg, and quivering thigh, and the demesnes that there adjacent lie, that in thy likeness thou appear to us. So Romeo has disappeared. This, you have to imagine that this is after the party, they're heading out. And all of a sudden, Romeo disappeared. And as Benvolio says, he leapt over this orchard wall. He climbed over this wall. And Mercutio is certain that he is still obsessed with Rosaline. And so he's like, I'll call for you and I'll just talk about Rosaline's body parts and maybe that will get you to appear before us. So neither of them have any idea that he has already moved on and is now thinking about Juliet instead. Remember, this would be an example of dramatic irony. We know he's moved on, they do not. And if he hear thee, thou wilt anger him. This cannot anger him. 'Twould anger him to raise a spirit in his mistress' circle of some strange nature, letting it there stand till she had laid it and conjured it down. That were some spite. My invocation is fair and honest. In his mistress's name I conjure only but to raise up him. Come, he hath hid himself among these trees, to be consorted with the humorous night. Blind is his love, and best befits the dark. If love be blind, love cannot hit the mark. Now will he sit under a medlar tree, and wish his mistress were that kind of fruit as maids call medlars when they laugh alone. O Romeo, that she were! O that she were an open arse, and thou a popperin pear! Romeo, good night. I'll to my truckle bed. This field bed is too cold for me to sleep. Come, shall we go? Go then, for 'tis in vain to seek him here that means not to be found. Exeunt. So as much as Mercutio and Benvolio want to find Romeo, as Benvolio says here, there's no point to try to find him if he doesn't want to be found. So they're off. Now comes our famous balcony scene. Romeo returns. He jests at scars that never felt a wound. This line is referring to Mercutio's shouting towards him just a minute ago, because Mercutio is making fun of him for Rosaline, but he's like, how rude is it kind of for Mercutio to make fun of me when he doesn't understand what that feeling was like. Now, you need to picture this, as creepy as it sounds. Romeo has climbed the wall back into the Capulet compound. So their house is surrounded by a wall, and he's jumped over that wall. And he is below this balcony, okay, at the Capulet house. And Juliet is about to appear in the window above. So she doesn't realize that Romeo is outside of her window watching her. Juliet appears in a window above. This is Romeo still speaking. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. So here he's watching her. He sees her speaking, and he's debating with himself, do I step in, do I say something, or do I not? He also talked about her beauty. He uses a metaphor here saying Juliet is the sun, and you're going to notice that he continues to make reference to light and the stars and the sun as we go through. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eye in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand? Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. Ay me. Aside. She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night being o'er my head as is a winged messenger of heaven upon the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy puffing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore out thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn, my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. So this is Juliet. She is still talking to herself. She has no idea that Romeo can hear what she's saying. And notice how she says, deny thy father and refuse thy name. The big issue with Romeo is his name, right? It's the fact that he's a Montague. So she wishes that he could just stop being a Montague, or she says, if you say you love me, I'll stop being a Capulet. Romeo, aside. Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this? 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called. Retain that dear perfection which he owes, without that title. Romeo doth thy name, and for that name, which is no part of thee, take all myself. I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo. So now Romeo has completely shocked her and has spoken directly to her. But the thing is, because it's so dark, she still doesn't really know that it's him. What man art thou, that thus be screened in night, so stumblest on my counsel? By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word. My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's uttering, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo, and a Montague? Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike. How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art. If any of my kinsmen find thee here? So she's admitting, how did you even get in here? And if any of the other Capulet men find him, they'll kill him. With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do, that dares love attempt. Therefore thy kinsmen are no stop to me. If they do see thee, they will murder thee. Alack, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity. I would not for the world that they saw thee here. I have night's cloak to hide me from their eyes, and but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love. So here Romeo is saying, go ahead, let them find me, because if you don't love me, I would rather die than be without you. By whose direction foundest thou out this place? By love, that first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise. Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek. For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight, fain would I dwell on form. Fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell compliment. So Juliet here is saying, like, first of all, thank goodness that it's dark out, because you would totally see me blushing, because she's embarrassed that he heard her or overheard her talking about the fact that she loves him. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say, Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkest I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse, and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayest think my behaviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more coin to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardest ere I was ware my true love's passion. Here we see a little internal conflict that Juliet has. She is concerned that she's almost being like too easy, which I think in modern times we would argue, yeah, you're moving really quickly. And so she's like, oh my gosh, was I too forward? Are you going to think that like it's too easy to get me? Should I have been more strange is the word she uses, like more standoffish. But she's like, you already heard what I said, so what am I going to do? Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered. So she wants him to promise, basically, or vow that he is in love with her and will be faithful to her. Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I vow that tips with silver all these fruit treetops. Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circle orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable. So She doesn't like that he has sworn by the moon, because if you think about the moon, the shape never stays the same, right? It's always changing and shifting. And she doesn't want him to swear his love on something that will change all the time. What shall I swear by? Do not swear at all. Or, if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee. If my heart's dear love. Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning with doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet, good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night, as sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast. So all of a sudden she's realizing, whoa, we are moving really, really fast. Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine. I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again. Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love? So she says, I have given you that vow of love, and she wishes she could do it again. So he gets worried, are you trying to take it back? But to be frank and give it thee again, and yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. Nurse calls from within. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again. Exit Juliet above. O blessed, blessed night! I am afeard, being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial. Enter Juliet above. 3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow, by 1, that I'll procure to come to thee where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world. So here Juliet says, if you really love me and your purpose is marriage, send me word tomorrow and I will come and meet you at whatever time you say, and we will get married, and I'll stay with you forever. Nurse from within. Madam, I come anon. But if thou meanest not well, I do beseech thee. From within. Madam, by and by I come. To cease thy strife and leave me to my grief, tomorrow will I send. So thrive my soul. 1,000 times good night. Exit Juliet above. 1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love toward school with heavy looks. Moves to exit. Re-enter Juliet above. Psst, Romeo, psst. Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine with repetition of my Romeo. It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears. Romeo, my Nias, what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee? By the hour of 9. I will not fail. 'Tis 20 year till then. I forgot why I did call thee back. Let me stand here till thou remember it. I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company. And I'll still stay, to have thee still forgetting any other home but this. 'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird that lets it hop a little from his hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with the silken thread plucks it back again, so loving, jealous of his liberty. I would I were thy bird. Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Exit Juliet above. Sleep well upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. Hence will I go to my ghostly friar's close cell, his help to crave and my dear hap to tell. So Romeo is off. He's going to go visit Friar Lawrence, who we've mentioned in the beginning. He's kind of like a mentor for Romeo, but he is also a priest. So he's going to ask him to arrange to marry Romeo and Juliet. The end.